I am pulling just from the collective energy. I always know, like, when I'm got to do a spaces, like, there's somebody who needs messages or somebody who's been praying for something, and through me is the channel of which these like answers are coming. But I do always need consent to read that energy. So if you do hop on a space that I host now or in the future, um, you will have to give consent. So verbally saying you consent or giving any type of messages like a emojis consent is necessary, and I just want to shout that out. So for this energy that I'm pulling on, the previous like harvest energy reading that I did was is still very relevant. That's relevant for up to 3 months. Some people will be even relevant for up to 6 months. It depends upon your own personal spiritual trajectory. But what I'm getting right now is that there is a lot of confusion. I'm seeing it as kind of a mist, and it really messed with your mental faculties. Like you didn't really understand like where things were going, why they were happening the way they were happening, why the people that were in your life were no longer in your life, or why certain people were in your life. I see that a lot of people were entertaining wolves in sheep's clothing. Some of this was necessary. Well, all of it's necessary. So let me start there. But some of it was more necessary to see how far you had grown, a test of sorts, to see if you were still going to allow yourself to be in the same circles with the same people, and if you're going to continue to gaslight yourself, because now you know what true friendship looks like, and you know what true love looks like because you know it from your spirit team. So why would you allow somebody to give you anything less than what you deserve? And that's what the universe is really asking now. This is the energy that we're in, is like, are you going to continue to allow people to give you less than what you deserve? Or are you going to start to be okay and being comfortable with being alone? Are you going to be okay with who you are as a person? Because you're more than enough. You're more than enough to be a friend to yourself. You're more than enough to treat yourself with kindness and with patience and with love, and to be content with that. And it's okay to want a relationship, and it's okay to want additional things outside of the relationship with yourself. But if the relationship with yourself isn't solid, and you can't fall back on the relationship with yourself, then you're at a place in your life where you need to really reevaluate that. You need to reevaluate who you are and where you want to go, and what that looks like for you. And I'm hearing and I've heard this a few times for this recent energy, but it's um what is it? It's write the vision and make it plain. And I'm seeing that some of you are confused about where you're going, even though some of this confusion has been cleared up, because you don't really know what you want. And that's okay, because we change and we transform. And so the way that we move about life is different once you change and transform, and the way you interact with life is different. So you need to know, with who you are now, where do you want to go and what do you want? If you're not clear on where you want to go and what you want, then nothing will be clear for you. And that's something that your team really needs you to know, is that there is some clarity that needs to come from yourself. There's some clarity that needs to come from within, and from within, everything else will show up in your physical reality. There needs to be extra focus at this time of paying attention to your dreams. There's an extra focus at this time of really working on yourself. Like, you are you're your first client, your first friend, your first everything. And so anything that you're thinking about doing for others, you need to first do it for yourself. Like, that's paramount. And they're very, very adamant about that. Like, this is a time of really honing in your relationship with yourself and being committed to yourself. Like, commit to yourself. Like, what are you going to allow and what are you not going to allow? What do you stand for? And that's like a really loud question. Like, when that came through, the what do you stand for? It came through very loud and very echoey. Like, they've been shouting this question to you and you haven't really picked up on it. And I know there's some of you that may resonate with, but then you're kind of like, well, I do have a relationship with myself and I do have this, but it's like, dig deeper into that. Like, what habits and what routines can you set with yourself? Like, what can you get excited about with yourself? Like, what restaurant do you want to go to with yourself? What trip do you want to take with yourself? What movie do you want to watch with yourself? Like, before you invite anyone else into your plans, make sure that you are solid with you. It is so, 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 so important to be solid with you. no matter what. You have to be unshakable in this time with yourself. And because you've been through a lot, there's been a lot of opposition, there's been a lot of healing, there's been a lot of tower moments building you, breaking you down to build you up better than ever. You are also being asked to be gentle with yourself, to remember that you're the trustworthy person in your life, to remember that if you can bet on yourself, if you can bet on yourself and trusting that God is providing everything to you, if you can bet on yourself that your relationship with yourself is a one-way street into a divine relationship with God, and that if you follow that faith and you follow that trust with just being you and God, because a relationship with you is automatically a relationship with you and God, you will really receive all of the outcomes that you're looking for. And this came up before, but I keep seeing that the only blockage you have is you right now. Like, you can be your own worst enemy if you allow yourself to be. Making sure that you know that the power is in your hands by doing what you're supposed to be doing, by following your guidance, and by not being distracted. I'm pulling the color red right now. I don't know if you're wearing red. Red's your favorite color. Is significant to someone in your life. Someone who passed away, they also favored the color red. They're trying to get through. It looks like a woman, kind of grandmothery vibe, maybe aunt vibe. It's like an older woman who is a family member. Color red is very significant. So for whoever this particular portion is for, you do have some maternal figures on your spirit team who are trying to get your attention, and they haven't been able to get your attention. You'll start to see flashes of red as confirmation that they are with you, and that they want you to open up to them, and they want to get close to you. So they really need you to acknowledge. They need you to acknowledge where you currently are and where they currently are in your life, because it seems like you kind of out of sighted, out of minded them, even though this relationship to you mattered. You don't know how to handle it with you being in the physical form and them being in the spiritual form. So you're really being called to focus. Focus. So I'm saying like three different things at one time. So you're being called to focus on building that connection, that relationship with them where you are currently. So you in your physical form, them in their spiritual. When you see that color red, that'll flash. I'm seeing a red sack, red scarf, something very significant in that way. Then you need to turn inward and develop that relationship with them, cultivate that relationship. I'm also seeing that this is coming into a time where the spiritual and the physical are going to become one for you. And you're going to be walking the physical knowing that this is a spiritual reality. And with that will come additional spiritual insights and additional spiritual gifts. But with that will also come more responsibility. So you have to be ready for that responsibility. If your spiritual gifts continue to expand and continue to get bigger and continue to get better, then you also need to be willing and you need to be ready to be responsible for those gifts and to do exactly as you're guided and to take the necessary steps. You also need to be prepared to give gratitude to the source of these gifts, because the source does not come from you, it comes from God, and you have to continuously acknowledge God and thank Him for what He has given you. If you are unable to do that, then you will be taken upon a different path, because then you are not ready. You're showing the universe that you're not ready for where you have been brought. Speaking of being not ready, there is, okay, card just flew out. So there's somebody who's in a situation who feels like they're not ready for it, but the situation has already been resolved and you just have to walk through it. You have to learn what you need to learn. You got to collect the clues. You got to go through it. You can't skip steps. And I'm seeing somebody wanting to jump from point A to point Z, but they have not done the work. Like, you have to do the work, you guys. It keeps coming up, like, this lack of doing the work is really hindering you. Whoever this specific group is, it's hindering you. Some signs for this specific group is Sagittarius placement, Aries placement, a Scorpio rising, I believe. Scorpio rising, and then like a Cancer. I'm seeing Cancer placements multiple, so multiple Cancer placements as well. Just reevaluate places where you seem to get stuck, reevaluate places where you seem to be kind of going in circles, because you're going in circles because you're missing something. And so you need to really slow down and work with your spirit team. There, like, this is another part where I mentioned earlier, where it's like physical and spiritual becoming one. You have to work with your spirit team. You cannot work against your spirit team. Work with them. If you work against them, you are working against yourself. You have to stop that. It's seeing a baby continuously trying to touch a hot stove, and like your spirit team is getting a little bit tired. They're like, please stop touching that stove. Like, please look at the other options that you have so that you can experience life and have it more abundantly, so you can experience joy, so you can do those things. Journaling is coming up again, and this comes up like every single time I channel because the collective doesn't like to write that much. And viewing it as a chore and not something that's like a blessing is hindering you. Excuse me. So it really is important that you journal. Let me see what any final messages are. A lot of people will be having communications with passed over loved ones. I just saw 505. That's significant. You can trust the connections that you have with the spirit world if you are aligned with the divine love and light that comes from the Heavenly Father. You can always trust what comes to you from the heavenly realms and what from the spirit teams. God won't allow anyone that is not aligned with him to be a part of your spirit team, but you cannot be dabbling one foot in the dark and one foot in the light. You got to make a choice so that that can be true for you in all aspects. I see a red book as being significant for someone as a confirmation that these messages are for them, or what messages are theirs are for them. I'm also seeing that there may be some health issues coming up, but this is an opportunity for you to walk out and step on faith and know that everything will turn out as it should be for you or your loved ones. They're closing the curtain on me now. They're saying that's all the messages that I'm supposed to pass on for right now. But they will be guiding me to do another spaces here soon. I wish nothing but love, light, and prosperity upon all who hear this, and that you have a most blessed evening or a day, depending on the time that you are tuning in.